Welcome back to the show, everybody. Appreciate you being here on what is an unusual time in South Florida. I think I mentioned on the last episode that winter storms had covered large portions of the country with snow, and it's been unusually wintry. But winter had not really found South Florida until this past weekend, and it found us. On Sunday, February 1st, Miami International Airport recorded a temperature of 35 degrees, which broke a record of 36 degrees that was set in 1909. So it has been more than 100 years since we have seen cold the likes of which we are seeing right now in South Florida. And so for those of you who are on the metric system, 35 degrees Fahrenheit is just a little over 1 degree Celsius. And it really is. It's very rare for us to see temperatures in the 30s. And one of the funny things that happens down here when temperatures get that cold is that we have a big iguana population, and it gets so cold that they freeze and just start falling out of trees. So you'll walk around and see iguanas just laying motionless under trees. Then what will also happen is that when it warms back up, they will come back to life. They're out there, they're alive, but it's so cold that they can't move. They'll fall down, and unless a predator, something eats them, once it warms back up, they will come back to life. So really unusually cold in South Florida. It's supposed to start warming up again this week, but chilly. And I know there's lots of places, not just in this country, but across the world, that are a whole lot colder than that. But look, I only have pants that I wear to work. If I'm not working, I'm not wearing pants. I wear shorts everywhere. I don't have a winter jacket. So when you're not prepared for weather like that, it can be a challenge. And I'd worked this past Saturday, which meant I couldn't play golf on Saturday, and did have a tee time for Sunday, but walked out of the house Sunday morning, probably about 6 o'clock a.m. I had an 8:30 tee time, and it was 32 degrees and breezy. I think the weather app said felt like 20 degrees. Walked out, said, nope, not happening today. Walked back into the house and stayed warm for the rest of the day. Just was not going to go out and play golf when it's that cold outside. I did foresee this happening and knew that the weather was coming. So all last week, I was trying to find a time to get out and get in and around before it got cold. And I did. I was able to do it on Thursday afternoon. And it brings me to that when I play on weekends, it's a little bit of a joke, but the people that I play with, we usually say it's not really a round of golf until someone says, I hate golf. Or that could be replaced with, I hate this game. Or if they're really mad, put an explicative wherever you would like it. But that's when you know things are starting to get fun, is when somebody says, I hate golf. And I've said it a lot over the past month. And I think I've reported here that my golf game has regressed. I've struggled through the early parts of 2026. So I have muttered that phrase, I hate golf, and I hate this game quite a few times. But for something that I hate so much, I continue to keep going out and doing it. I obsess over it. I wake up in the morning thinking about it, and there's no place that I would rather be than on the golf course. So I guess I don't really hate it that much. And it would be easy. It would be easy to do a podcast, and maybe I'll do it at some point, where I talk about all the reasons that I hate golf. I don't know if you've ever seen Cars is another hobby of mine, and someone will do a video on a car and it'll be 5 things I like most about this vehicle, and then they'll do another video and the 5 things I hate about this vehicle. And from a golf standpoint, I definitely think it would be easier to do the 5 things I hate most about golf or why I hate golf, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to talk about why I love golf. And currently at work, things have been pretty stressful. Going through a big change, and not only is it stressful right now, I expect probably the next year to be quite tumultuous. And I think there's going to be a lot of pretty stressful days. Now, I am luckier than most. I'm not complaining. Everybody goes through these things, times of high stress in your personal life and your professional life. And just right now, it's up there. It's one of the most stressful periods I have had in my professional life. So was looking for, for 2 reasons, was looking for an opportunity to get out last week. One, because I knew the cold weather was coming and really wanted to get out and play before it got too cold. And 2, I just felt like I needed a break. I needed to get outside. I needed to get away from work for a couple of minutes. And that opportunity presented itself on Thursday afternoon. And it was a beautiful day. It really, I think, presented itself Thursday around noontime when I went outside for lunch and thought, oh my God, what a day. It was about 70 degrees, low humidity, light breeze. And it's the kind of day where you just think, what am I doing indoors? I have got to get outside and do something better than being inside and just looking out the window. So looked at my calendar, figured out that the afternoon was relatively clear and people can reach me. Even if I'm not at work, my phone is always on. So left and got to the golf course at about 3:00 on Thursday afternoon. And when I got there, it was crowded. And if there were, I don't know, 50 cars in the lot, I bet 48 of them had Quebec license plates. They were just lined up. It was Canada Day at the golf course. And when I walked into the clubhouse, I even asked, I said, are you allowing Americans to play golf today or is it Canadians only? But it was not. The Americans were allowed to get out and play too. But I couldn't get right out. So went to the driving range, hit a bucket of balls, continued to work on some of the same things I've been working on, which is trying not to flip my wrist, trying to control, left-right dispersion with my irons. And the other thing that I've been thinking about working on, and this goes to watching some of the YouTube videos, just YouTube golf and content creators. And I watch people swing driver, and it occurred to me how free a lot of them look when swinging the driver. And most, if not all, are better golfers than I am. So I'm not saying that I feel like I should be able to hit the ball as well as all of them. But what I am saying is I took something from how freely they swing driver. And I thought, that's not how I swing the club. Yeah, I've been hitting it poorly. And the worse I hit it, the more I tense up, the more I try and control the club path and really guide the ball where I want it to go. And I think the more of that I do, the worse I get. So I'd watched a video from US Golf TV, and it's called The New Approach to Hitting Driver That's Changing Everything. And I'll link a path to that video in the show notes. And short video, about 3.5 minutes. That may be my wheelhouse. I think when I talked about trying to hit bunker shots before, I watched a 3-minute video. Maybe my attention span, that's all I can handle of instructional videos, is about 3.5 minutes. So I'd watch this video about hitting driver. And when I got to the driving range, it was in my head, and they give you a couple of drills to do. in the video, and I thought, let's do it. Let's do a couple of these drills and just see what happens. So I did. I don't know if they helped a whole lot, but the one swing thought that I clearly had in mind when I was swinging driver was to be gentler in how I grip the club. Because as I said before, when driver doesn't go well, I think I grip it tighter and tighter, and I have a death grip on the club, trying to push the ball, direct the ball where I want it to go. And it's not the right thing to do. We spend all this money on technology and drivers because engineers and companies have spent millions of dollars developing a driver, putting weights in specific places in the club head to not just allow it, but in theory, force it, that when you get that pendulum motion going, the club head, because of the way it's weighted, should square up and help you hit the ball. And I think it will, unless you don't allow it, unless you don't allow that to happen because you're gripping the club so tightly that it can't. So the one swing thought that was going through my head was soft hands, let the club do the work. Move my arms in that pendulum motion, but free the club up to move the way the club should. And I had some success with that on the driving range. So I hit balls for about a half an hour, went back to the clubhouse, got my cart. There was a foursome that had teed off. I was planning on going out and playing by myself, so pulled up to the tee and was just waiting for the foursome to finish the first hole. It's a par 5. I could have teed off once they were far enough out, but there's no rush. There's no hurry. I wanted to give them a little bit of space, and I hung out and was waiting a little bit. While I was waiting, another single in a cart pulled up, and I said hi, introduced myself, and said, "Are you playing by yourself?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, we might as well, we'll play together because there's a foursome out there. We're both going to be faster than they are anyway. So why don't we make it a day and we'll play out here together." So Bill was the guy's name that I played golf with. Really good guy. And I teed off. I again, kind of kept that thought process in place. Soft hands. And I hit a nice drive, started a little left, faded back right into the center of the fairway. If I remember correctly, I think Bill hit a pretty good drive too. I hit my second shot, basically laid up, wasn't going to try and get crazy and see if I could get to the green. Wanted to get that number into about 100, 125 yards out, which I did. Hit the green on my third shot. Bill did as well. We were both on in 3. And then had my first 3 putt of the day to make bogey on that hole. Bill made par. But I'll take it, like fairways and greens. If I can do that, I can be successful out there playing golf. And I'm not going to go through hole by hole by hole, but what I will say is that I hit driver better on that day than I've hit it in a really long time. My short game wasn't great. My putting wasn't great, but I was pounding driver. The reality is if Bill and I were playing a scramble, we would have been a dangerous team. Because while he wasn't quite as good off the tee, he was really good around the greens. He made some great up and downs, made some good putts. And it was just, again, it was a beautiful day, playing golf with a complete stranger. We talked, got to know each other a little bit, talked about our golf games, what we do for work. And this is why I love golf. To be out on the golf course, spending the day, again, on a beautiful afternoon with somebody that you enjoy being out there with. And it can be a friend, or again, it can be a perfect stranger. And I think what happens really quickly is you pull for each other. And it's not me against Bill. It's Bill and I against the golf course. And that happens a lot, that you're playing with people, and when something goes well, when they hit a good shot, when they sink a big putt, there's just something about golf that you don't dwell on man, I just missed a 4-footer and this guy sunk, one from 18 feet. You're excited. Like you're excited for that person. You're excited to see somebody succeed. And it goes back to just, it's such a difficult game that when somebody you're with goes out there and has something good happen, you support it, you cheer for it. And we spent an afternoon together, again, supporting each other, talking, laughing, having a good time. And really the most unfortunate thing about the afternoon was because we got out at 3:30, we knew that we were racing against daylight. And so we did pick the pace up, play, I mean, as fast as we could. We really couldn't play any faster because, like I said, we had to force them in front of us, but they were playing at a pretty good pace too. And, again, we knew we weren't going to get through 18. So we did focus on teeing off as soon as we could tee off, probably not spending as much time over putts as we could have spent over putts, but just going out, playing the game and having a good time. So ultimately, we ended up playing 14 holes. I was 16 over through 14, which again, not great golf, but I hit driver really well and hit 45% of the fairways, which is better than where I've been. And quite a few of the fairways I missed, I didn't miss by much. The one drive that I hit out of bounds, I actually hit on a short par 4 and I hit it with a 6-iron. And it was a really well hit 6-iron that I hit kind of a baby draw. Started down the middle of the fairway, baby draw. There's water to the left, and the ball just got far enough to roll down a little hill to the water's edge. If I was a left-handed golfer, I could have played it from there. As a right-handed golfer, I would have had to stand in what was probably 2 or 3 feet of water and hit that ball, and that just wasn't happening. So had to take a drop. That cost me a stroke, but it's as good as I've hit the ball in a really long time. And what that led to was, again, of the 14 holes that I played, 36% of greens in regulation, which again, really good number for me. If you go back to last week, the last round that I played, I hit 0. I played 18 holes and did not hit a single green in regulation, which still baffles me that I can accomplish that. So on this afternoon, I played 14 holes and hit 1, 2, 3. I hit 5 greens out of 14 holes, which is, that's the kind of golf I have to play if I want to break 80. So played 14 holes, hit some good shots, hit some bad shots, but it just never bothered me on Thursday. Like hitting a bad shot, just, all right, I'll hit another one, because I was so happy just to be out there and be playing in on a beautiful afternoon, that whatever happened on the golf course happened. And as we finished up, it was really getting dark. Put my golf clubs back in the car, put the windows down, played the music, probably a little too loudly on my way home, and drove home on just a perfect 70-degree, it was probably 6:30 in the evening day, and thought, that's why I love golf. To be out on the golf course on a beautiful day with good company, laughing, enjoying golf. That's what it's about. Like and I wish I could do that more. That not let the game get to me and have realistic expectations when I get out there and just play and just have fun. I can still go out there, compete. I can still go out and want to score, but what a great place to be. And I hope everybody listening, I hope you've had a day like that on the golf course, or if you haven't, I hope you do. Just a moment in time where you appreciate being out there, appreciate the game, and think, this is why I play, because I really do love to be out here. So again, we'll save all the things that I don't like about golf for another day, but that's why I love golf. Beautiful day, good people, have some fun, and there really is. There's no place I'd rather be. And it didn't hurt that I felt like my golf game came back to me a little bit. I didn't score real well. Some of that may have been trying to beat the darkness and seeing how quickly we could play, but that's just the way it goes some days. Some days you hit the ball well and you don't score, but hitting the ball well felt really good. And it gave me hope that I can find my way back out of this slump, because I will be back out this weekend and I'm planning on playing 2 rounds, one Saturday, one Sunday. If I could find an opportunity to get out before then, I will. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful after that Thursday round that I can start to find my way back to the guy who started this podcast, who believes that he can break 80, because I've seen no signs of it over the past month. And I made I don't know if it was a mistake or not, but the mistake of looking at my gin scorecard today and noted that in late 2025, I was playing some really good golf for me. And those rounds, I'm getting ready to replace them. So the next 4 rounds that will fall off of my scorecard all are counting towards my current handicap of 15.5. So the next 4 rounds that I'm going to replace are an 83, an 89, a 90, and an 86. That's a good stretch of golf for me. If you compare that to the last 4 rounds, other than the 14 holes that I played on Thursday, my last 4 full rounds were 96, 98, 97, and 90. So that's 2 different guys, 2 different golfers. But I hit the ball well enough on Thursday that I believe I can find my swing again and I can put up some scores that get me back to a place where I can consider the possibility of shooting around better than 80. Now, you know what? If I don't, I don't. If I don't, my handicap goes up, and that's why the handicap system exists, because it's a fair measurement of where you are at this point in time. And the reality is I'm not playing golf right now to the level of my handicap. I'm playing worse than my handicap. So if that continues, my handicap's going to go up. But I'm going to do everything I can to go out, remember, try and channel that guy that was out there on that beautiful day on Thursday afternoon, make sure that I'm having a good time, enjoying being out there on the course, think about the same things I was thinking about on Thursday, lighten up on the grit, don't try and choke the golf club, let it swing, let it do its job, and hopefully I'll find some success again. My putting's been a little shaky. I've had periods of time where I can go a month without a 3-putt. And recently I've had quite a few finding their way onto the scorecard. So that's another issue. It's something I got to work out, but I feel like I can do that. And I have hope. And maybe that's crazy given how the last few rounds have gone. But hope's what keeps us going, right? Hope's what gets us to go back out onto the golf course and try and put up a number. So that's what I love about this game. That's why I love to go out and play golf. I can't wait to get back out there again. And there's plenty of rounds where I finish up and I think, man, I don't know why I came out here today. And that's unfortunate, because whatever the score is, I should really always be enjoying going out and spending 4 hours on the golf course. And for whatever reason, I was reminded of that on Thursday, and I'm going to do everything I can to channel that into the rounds that I play here in the very near future. And while winter has found its way to South Florida, it won't last long. By tomorrow afternoon, we're supposed to be back up to about 65 degrees. Over the weekend, we're looking at high 50s early in the morning, warming up into the 70s. So should be absolutely perfect days to go out and play golf. And I'm going to go out and enjoy it. And I'm going to go out and do everything I can to play good golf. But good golf, bad golf, The key there is I'm going to find a way to go out and enjoy those rounds of golf. So with all this cold winter weather in South Florida keeping me off the golf course, how have I been spending my free time? Well, I think if you've listened, you know the answer to that. Watching YouTube golf. And what have I been watching? What have I been enjoying? Well, right now I'm watching, there's a 2v2 series that's 3 parts. The first part was on Grant Horvat's channel. Second part on the Bryan Brothers channel. Part 3 will be on Bob Does Sports. And it's Grant and FP versus Joey and George versus Bob and Wesley. And my 3 favorite channels on YouTube golf. And I think it's because of what I just talked about. It's because of why I love golf, because these guys truly like each other and enjoy spending time with each other. And it comes across in the videos. And sometimes they play good golf, sometimes they play bad golf. But I think if you asked them and you said you could be out on the golf course with anybody you could want to be out there with, these are the groups that enjoy playing with each other and want to be out there playing golf with each other. And like I said, comes across. So going into this, I believed that Grant and FP were big favorites. And I'm not going to spoil it because honestly, I don't know what happens yet. It's not over. The third part's not out yet. But what I will tell you is it's close, and it's closer than I thought it was going to be. So I do think the third part's going to be exciting. Stay tuned. Maybe I'll recap that next week and talk about what happened. But prior to that, I watched another Can Bob Break 80 video. And this one was with Grant trying to help caddy and help him find his way around the course. And I've said this before, that I relate to Bob because he's on a similar journey. He's younger. At this point, he's playing better golf. I've really seen his golf game improve, but he has yet to break 80 and films these videos documenting his journey. And in this most recent one with Grant, I felt bad for him because I've had these days. Bob did not have a good day, and he did not break 80. Spoiler alert. I think he shot 92, but really struggled out of the gate. I think it was 14 over after 9. And at that point, you know it's over. If it's par 72, you could be no more than 7 over to shoot a 79. And just really struggled. And I felt for him because, again, if I go out there and struggle, I mean, I may come talk about it here, but he's putting a video out that 1 million people watch, and they get to watch him go out and struggle and hear the comments from Grant and FP and Joey and Jet. And it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch when the golf game falls apart. But what I would say is that Bob is playing better golf. I've seen tremendous improvement. He's hitting the ball better. He's making better contact. And I do think it's going to come for him sooner rather than later. But it's tough. Living proof of that for an amateur golfer, golf is largely a game of minimizing your mistakes. And to go out there and shoot no worse than 7 over means, right, it's just 7 bogeys, like 7 holes that you can make relatively small mistakes and make bogey. But you just can't have doubles and triples. Those are going to blow you out of the water quickly. And that is not easy to do. Although there's videos out there that say, here's the easy way to break 90, every time, or break 80 every time. Total nonsense, because you've got to be good at everything. You've got to have it all going. You've got to have driver going, the approach shots, the short game around the greens, probably going to have to hit some bunker shots, and you're going to have to make some putts. And for somebody who's a really good golfer, no big deal. They can go out and do it. But for me, for those of us, when last week we talked about the average handicap for a male golfer in the United States is a 14. For a 14 handicap, That's really tough to do. It's really difficult to go out and shoot a round of 79. So I enjoyed the video. I relate to Bob. There's no question that his golf game's getting better, and I think he's going to get there. He's got lots of help, lots of people pulling for him, but I appreciate him doing it. I appreciate him putting it out there and letting us go along for the journey. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting when it does happen and he goes out there and shoots a 79, just like it's going to be exciting when it does happen for me and I go out there and shoot a 79. And I will, of course, as always, put links to all of these videos in the show notes. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you may already be watching these channels, but good stuff and really enjoyed the videos. So as I said, coming up, the weather's warming back up again. I'm going to be back out there playing golf. Still on that quest. I'm going to find my way to break 80. Expect it to be another hectic week, but really can't wait to be back on the course. Hoping, like I said, to channel some of the good things that happened on my last round and find my way back to playing some good golf. And I think that's about it for this week. As always, I appreciate you being here. Would love to hear from you. Tell me why you love golf. What is it that makes you want to get out there and play every week? Have you had one of those days where you walk off the golf course just thinking, man, I love this game. I love being out here. What a great way to spend an afternoon. Please comment, send me an email, breaking80over50@gmail.com. Let me know your thoughts. Generally, when I get home from playing golf, my wife likes to ask, "Did you win?" And typically, I respond with something like, "Played pretty well, but wasn't competing with anyone else. Really wasn't about winning or losing." But on Thursday, when she asked, "Did you win?" without hesitation, I said, "Yes, I did. Today was exactly what I needed." And that's the magic. That's why I love this game. I did win. For 3.5 hours, I put the stresses of work and life behind me, went out to the golf course, made a new friend, and had a great time. The challenges that I faced didn't disappear. They were still there, but for a few hours, I put them aside and enjoyed life. To me, that's a win. And if I can find a way to remember that every time I head to the course, I'll be better for it. I hope that everyone listening finds peace in something you enjoy when you need it. That may be on the golf course, catching a movie with someone special, or playing fetch with your dog. Whatever it may be, you deserve it. Enjoy it. What's next for me? The chase to break 80 resumes. For better or worse, I'll let you know how it goes. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week. If you made it this far, thank you. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you hung in there for the whole show. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like, subscribe, and maybe share this with a friend. It really helps to grow the community. And let me know you're out there. If you listen on Spotify, leave a comment or a question, or send me an email at breaking80over50@gmail.com. I promise I'll read every one. All music was provided by Epidemic Sound, and I'll leave links to any of the content that I mentioned during the podcast in the show notes. Keep swinging, keep smiling, and remember, it's a game. Get out there and have fun. Thanks, everybody.